Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be finally sharing with you how to make CBD dog treats. This is a very much requested video and I'm sure a lot of you are excited to see this recipe. But before we get into today's video, if you wouldn't mind, if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And for those of you that have already subscribed, thank you so much for supporting our channel. And if you guys wouldn't mind, please give this video a big thumbs up. So folks, today, before we dive into the recipe, I want to let you know that you will need infused coconut oil. And I will leave that recipe video down in the description below. Go ahead and check it out. If you are in need of hemp flour, that is what supports our farm. We do have that available, and all that information is in the description below. If you are needing hemp flour to make that infused coconut oil, let me know and we will get you situated. For those of you that are just here looking at the recipe, we do have a tip jar available below because we do not make a lot of money on these CBD videos because of YouTube's monetization policy. But folks, let's get right into how we're going to make these CBD dog treats. Now, this is something I wish I could have released months and months ago, but it really took a lot of tweaking to make sure that this recipe was ready to be released. And today, I'm really excited to release this video. It is such a simple recipe. When we broke it down, we got rid of some ingredients, and it is just so easy to make. Your furry friends are going to love these treats. So let's dive into how to make your furry friends some dog treats. Okay folks, here are the 4 simple ingredients, and I will leave all this in the description below, the exact recipe with all the measurements. So first you will need 4 cups of organic or just regular whole wheat flour. Organic is not important in this step, but it is in other ones. You will need all natural or all organic peanut butter. That is important because there are some peanut butters out there that aren't safe for dogs. So make sure you get all natural and all organic. You will need organic chicken stock. Again, this is very important. You want to make sure that you get the organic stuff. There's just some stuff in the regular chicken stock that isn't necessarily great for your dog. And then, of course, your organic coconut oil that is infused. And for those of you that need that recipe, again, it is in the description below. Check out that link. It'll get you started on how to make the coconut oil. So folks, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add everything into the mixing bowl. It's going to be relatively easy to do. Then we're going to mix it around and we'll get into that next step. So first we're going to get our flour into the bowl. Then we're going to add our chicken stock. They got the bottom of the container, so this is all the good stuff. Then we will add our infused coconut oil. Now we already had it heated on the stove, so obviously you want to make sure that it's heated or at least warmed up because coconut oil is solid at room temperature. And then we add the peanut butter. It's already starting to separate, so it's actually easy to get out of the cup. So now what you're going to do is you're going to mix all of this around. And try not to splash it. I'm notorious for making a mess when cooking. So what I'm going to do now is mix this around until it's like a solid like cookie dough almost, because it is, you know, a cookie. See, I already got some on the counter. Now what you can do is if the spatula that you're using is too flimsy, you're going to need one like a wooden spoon or something will work too. This is just what I prefer because I can get the edges a lot better. And then eventually you can work it with your hands, and that's what's going to be next. And I'm going to go over that shortly. So let me mix this around, get it into a nice dough form. It's going to take a few minutes, maybe another 2 or 3 minutes, so let's skip ahead to that part of the recipe. All right, so it's been a few minutes, and this is our dough ball. As you can see, like I said, it is very cookie dough just, you know, if you've ever made cookies at home, it's very similar to just a regular old cookie dough. Now what we're going to do is we're going to break off a small piece, that can fit in your hand. Make like a baseball or softball size, depending on how big your counter is. Our counter is a little smaller here where we're going to be doing this. So go ahead and just make one of these and then put the bowl of the dough off to the side. Now what you're going to do is you're going to get off to the side here. I have my flour, and what you're going to do is you're going to sprinkle flour on your countertop. And what you're going to do is you're going to knead the dough now. So this is important. If you guys have ever made pizzas or anything like that, this is just a regular way to make dough, and it also keeps it from sticking to the counter. And once you knead it up pretty good, it's going to start getting a lot more solid, which is what you want. You want this to start stiffening up now. And as you can see, it's picking up some of the dough as we kind of flatten it out. And this is a very important step. Very, very important. If you don't do this, the cookies in the oven will end up they're just not going to end up the way you hope they would. Let's put it that way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to knead this, and then I'm going to go grab my rolling pin, and we're going to start rolling it out. So I'm going to flash forward to that. You may have to knead this for approximately 3 to 4 minutes. It really depends on how much flour you want on it, and once you think it's good. Again, the texture needs to be malleable, but you don't want it to be super soft like it was when you first put it on the counter. This is getting pretty close. So let's flash forward. I'm going to add a little bit more flour here, and then I'm going to grab my rolling pin. Okay, folks, so it's been a couple more minutes. I just needed it a little bit longer. So now we are ready to start rolling it out. Now this is to your desired width of the cookie. You can leave it as is if you want super thick cookies. But honestly, I like them on a little bit of a thinner side. So, maybe, 1/8 of an inch thick. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect because, you're trying to get relatively the same size cookie throughout. But, obviously it's going to be homemade, so it's not going to be exact. This looks pretty good. About where I want it as far as thickness goes. Now, one thing about these cookies is they don't rise. So when you cook them, they're going to be the same thickness when you take them out. Now, you can add egg to this recipe. I did do that in my research and development. I did not like the way they came out because they would get bubbles sometimes, and I just really didn't like the look of them. Okay, so now we have your dough flattened out. This is about 1/8 of an inch thick, which is about perfect. Now, here is something that is optional. You can use any cookie cutter, but we have a special dog cookie cutter that we got on Amazon. It was like $6, and I will leave that link in the description below. But these things are really neat. Now, they come in 3 different sizes and 2 different shapes. We have small, medium, large bones, and we have small, medium, large paws. My beagle, that we are dog lovers here at the farm, loves the smaller ones, and our Labrador, we either give him the mediums or sometimes the largest, depending on the need. And we also add a little bit of oil sometimes to these. It's another way to deliver more CBD oil to the dogs. So now all you're going to do is you're going to cut all the cookies that you want. Now you're going to try to get them as close as possible so you don't have to do this a zillion times. And you're just going to go ahead and go down the line and cut your cookies the best you can. I'm not going to be able to get that one. It's almost like playing Tetris with the cookie cutter. Alright, I'm going to nick that one. Alright, so now what you're going to do is, now that all these cookies are cut, you're going to go ahead and separate them. Easy like that. And you're just going to peel back. Now you want to make sure that when you're cutting them, you do push down. I mean, you don't have to push down super hard to cut the cookies, but you want to make sure that you're putting enough pressure on that it makes your life easier in this step. You don't want to lightly press it, because then while you're going to be fighting the other parts of the dough. So I'm going to remove these, and then we're going to get ready to start baking the cookies. All right, so now all of our cookies are cut, and all the leftover dough can be re-rolled and recut. So you can make a lot of cookies with this recipe, folks. I mean, a lot of cookies. So next, we're going to get ready to put them in the oven. So you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and get that ready. Now, for those of you that in the past who have criticized me for using aluminum trays or aluminum foil, I'm here today to show you we're going to use Pyrex. And this step is critical. So what you're going to do is you're going to take about, I don't know, half a tablespoon, and you're going to put coconut oil on your pan. Now, what you're going to do is while your oven is preheating, you're going to put this in so it melts. And then you're going to spread it around so that the cookies don't stick to the pan. So that's what we're going to do now. We're getting our oven preheated to 350. We're going to throw this in until the coconut oil has melted. We're going to take it back out, and then we're going to get ready to cook our cookies. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, folks, so while we were waiting, I took the extra dough from the original cookie cut, and I made a whole bunch more cookies. I even got a little bonus. I just kind of roll it out to be like a little ball. And I'll give this to the bigger dog, as I don't usually give them to the beagle. But the small treats are usually meant for her. Now, we've been waiting. Our coconut oil is melted. I just checked it. The oven hasn't quite preheated yet, but that's okay. It's right at 285, so we're almost at 350 where it needs to be. So now you take this coconut oil. You can't see it in the pan here. I'm going to bring it over here real quick so you can see what I'm going to do. Move all these cookies out of the way here. Okay. So you can't really see the oil because it's melted and it's just regular old coconut oil. What you're going to do is you're going to just take that spatula and you're going to spread it around the bottom of the pan so everything is nice and oiled up. Real easy. Just make sure you get the oil everywhere. You don't want these cookies sticking to the pan. Trust me. Okay, now that this is all oiled up with coconut oil and it's glass, for those aluminum haters out there, let's go ahead and start putting the cookies in the pan. So I'm going to line this up, and probably by the time I'm done with that, our oven will be preheated to 350 degrees. So let's jump to that right now. Okay, folks, I have lined up all the cookies that I can fit in this pan. We still have a few extras, but we'll get those on the next round. But this is ready to go in the oven. Our oven is at 345, so I'm just going to pop these in now. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes for these to cook. So once you've put them in the oven, put your timer on for about 10 minutes, and then you can always extend it an extra 5. You can burn these cookies. So I reiterate, err on the side of 10 minutes and then wait another 5 minutes if possible or if needed. As you heard, our oven is ready now. So let's pop these into the oven. And I'll see you in 10 to 15 minutes. Folks, so the cookies were actually in the oven for about 20 minutes. It took a little longer, I think, because the pan wasn't quite heated up. Once you're making your cookies, because we're going to do another round after this, it takes less and less time because the pan's already cooking them once you put them in. But yeah, this round took about 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on them after 10 minutes. That's pretty much my advice to making these cookies, because you really don't want to burn them, because then the dogs aren't going to like them. And we have a notorious picky eater in our Labrador, so even if they're slightly burned, he won't touch them. So let's grab them out of the oven. You can hear the timer going off, and then I'll show you how to cool them off. So we're going to grab them out of the oven here, and they are looking fantastic. So then what you're going to do is you're going to grab a spatula, and you're going to take them and you're going to throw them over here onto your cookie drying rack. This is just standard for cookie making, just for regular cookies. You're going to want to make sure that you have a drying rack. Get them all over here. And so typically what I like to do is I keep making more cookies, but for the purpose of the video, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flash forward to when they're cooled, and of course our furry friends here on the farm, Hopper and Ruddy, are going to sample them for you. But as of right now, if you've already got more cookies, you should be layering them in and putting them back into the oven to cook again while the other one's cool, so you can just get it done. Now don't forget, you've got a whole bowl of dough over here. We only used a fraction of that dough. Now that dough can remain in a refrigerator for quite some time. Now I've never gone really past 2 weeks in the refrigerator, but it is pretty shelf stable. The cookies themselves, once they are cooled off, are very shelf stable. You just throw them in a bag and leave them in your cookie jar for the dogs. But I do know that if you wrap up the dough in either a container or in saran wrap and put it in the refrigerator, it will last some time. If you want to make your cookies fresh for your pet, that's fine too. So let's flash forward to the cool down and some sample testing. All right, folks, so the cookies took about 10 to 15 minutes to cool down, and as you can see, I got my little fur sharks around me. They are ready to eat some cookies. Well, we'll have them sit. Hopper, sit. All right, everybody's sitting. And here's your taste test. I even brought one for myself because, you know, these things are fresh out of the oven. All natural ingredients. You know, I'm not condoning eating dog treats, but these things are so good for your dogs, you can even eat them. But that's all I have for today, folks. If you wouldn't mind, please like the video before exiting out. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment below. All our information is in the description below. You can reach us on Facebook and Instagram, so go ahead and do that. And until next time, folks, we'll see you in another video.